Chapter 1st. The Despondency of Arjuna. The timeless message of the Bhagavad Gita does not refer only to one historical battle, but to the cosmic conflict between good and evil. For the aspiring devotee, the power of impartial intuitive self-analysis, discerning introspection, it is the ability to stand aside, observe oneself without any prejudice, and judge accurately. The body is the chariot. The soul is the owner of the chariot. Intelligence is the charioteer. The senses are the horses. The blind mind on its own neither cognizes nor exerts guidance, but merely receives the impression from the senses and relays the conclusions and instructions of the intelligence. If the intelligence is governed by buddhi, the pure discriminative power, the senses are controlled. If the intelligence is ruled by material desires, the senses are wild and unruly.
Symbolically, the kingdom of body and mind rightfully belongs to the king soul and his noble subjects of virtuous tendencies. But king ego and his kingsmen of wicked, ignoble tendencies cunningly usurp the throne. When king soul arises to reclaim his territory, the body and mind become the battleground. How king soul rules over his bodily kingdom, loses and then regains it, is the essence of Gita. The psychological conflict for health, prosperity, self-control and wisdom has to be started anew each day in order for man to advance toward victory, reclaiming inch by inch the territories of the soul occupied by the rebels of ignorance.
The yogi tries to re-establish himself in the soul's inner spiritual kingdom, the subtle centers of life and divine consciousness in the spine and brain. The inner chambers of the palace of King Soul are in the subtle centers of superconsciousness, Christ consciousness, and cosmic consciousness. These centers are respectively in the medulla, in the spiritual eye, and at the top of the cerebrum, the throne of the soul in the 1,000-petaled lotus.
In the state of superconsciousness, Christ consciousness, cosmic consciousness, King Soul reigns supreme, the pure image of God in man. But when soul descends into body consciousness, it becomes the limited ego and can no longer express its omnipresence, omniscience and omnipotence.
When the soul is concentrated within rather than manifesting outwardly, it is one with the Absolute Spirit, ensconced on the throne of ever-new bliss, within the 1,000-petaled lotus, in a region beyond circumscription by the three bodies and their subtle causes, and untouched by the creative attributes and activities of nature. Pride here means that love for the I or ego self that is constantly on the defensive to support and promote the interest of that self. Because of mirth within the ego there arises arrogance, conceit, haughtiness, presumptuous behavior and passionate or wanton lust after the desires, interests or demands of the I, me and mine. My good name, my right, my status, my race, my religion, my feeling, I am justified, I am as good or better than anyone else. I want, I have, I am. The aspiring yogi should always bear in the mind when he feels angry, that is not me. When hatred tries to obscure his real nature with a mask of ugly emotion, he should forcefully dissociate himself from it. That is not me. That is not me. He learns to shut the doors of his consciousness against all undesirable visitors seeking lodging within, And whenever that devotee has been used or abused by others, and yet he feels within a stirring of the Holy Spirit of forgiveness and love, he can then affirm with conviction, that is me, that is me, that is my real nature.